Welcome one, welcome all to the Amateur's Guide to Shogi, and welcome back after a bit of a long hiatus. Basically, I just started uni, and I had to move cities. I was getting settled in and getting through my first semester of uni ever. So that was I was a bit busy. So I haven't been posting in quite a while. Now I hopefully want to get back into it. I really don't know how often I'll be able to post. Maybe weekly. I'm not entirely sure. I've also got a new room, obviously, so hopefully the acoustics are okay. Same recording setup as usual, but it is a smaller room, so maybe the acoustics will even be better. So obviously I'm way behind on doing the reviews of the professional games. So I haven't even been keeping up with them myself, to be perfectly honest. So let me know if you want me to. I don't even remember if I finished the previous series or if I didn't. So you'll have to let me know if you want me to finish off those series or just start fresh with the whatever's current in terms of title matches and whatnot. I thought today, because I hadn't really planned anything, I would just do some more puzzles just to ease myself back into creating things. That was loud. Hopefully you didn't hear that. Anyway, so I've got a puzzle here, back on Lishogi as per usual, with the nice colourful set so that you can see which directions things are going. And what have we got? Well, obviously it's a mate puzzle. We've got a king here. We've got a rook, or a dragon rather, silver, general, lance, pawn, and a gold in hand. This silver's providing some pretty good defense here. So, now usually in these puzzles, since it is a mate puzzle, every move should be a check. So the first one that I'm thinking of is this move, simply because that cuts the king off this way and gives a check. Oh wait, but then they could just take with their rook, and that wouldn't really help at all. Okay, well, let's think of something different then. There is a clearance sacrifice idea, except I don't think that would work either. I don't have enough pieces to follow that up, especially if they take with this. Now, the other thing to consider here is that this lance is remarkably unprotected. So it is doing a good job of cutting the king off this way. So the net that the king is in, the king actually currently is pretty enclosed, but the only way they can go is taking this lance, because this pawn, I mean, if it was chess, it could defend this, but it's not. So now I'm thinking that this first move must involve putting down the general in a place that protects the lance and delivers a check, in which case there is only one move, and it's this. The only problem with that I can see is what happens after the very obvious reply, silver takes gold. It does clear away the silver, but at the same time, it also means that this lance is now no longer defended, so if I wanted to try and come in with a check with the rook, or my silver, the king now has that option of going this way yet again. The other option is this. Say we just let the king take this and then try and trap him there. But the only problem there is that now this he can get at this pawn here, which is now undefended. And I don't really see a way to defend that pawn. There's no real way to cut him off in there. I suppose the other idea... Well, let's just work through this line first. Just double check that none of this works, because this seems like the obvious first move. So after takes, there might be an idea of takes, and then king takes, and then silver check here, protected by this dragon maybe. But then after this, I don't see anything. I don't think there is anything after that. Okay. What about here takes... Then I'm pretty sure the only follow-up that would have to be lance takes, because otherwise, like if you give a check, say, well, here that doesn't work because you just get taken with this rook. But if you go here, or if you go like... Yeah, there's basically no other follow-up. You could go here, unpromote, keep it as a silver, and that would deliver the check here. But then once again, the king could just run, take the lance, and then you've got nothing. So I don't think that works. So instead, how about we try a different tactic? Well, there's also the idea of maybe this unpromotion as is. There's also potentially the idea of this. I know I dismissed it before, but I guess the idea would be if the king takes it, then this lance is now away from the king, so it's safe, and then you could follow it up with this check. And then after here, you've got another silver. Here, no, here, check, but then takes, and then king takes, you end up with nothing. And, well, okay, takes, but if the king goes this way, then what? You can give another... No, I don't like that at all. Okay. In which case, what other ideas do I have? There's this check, that doesn't make much sense. This check, maybe? Then king takes. But then what? I really think you do need to defend this lance. Otherwise, how do you... How do you prevent the king from escape? Because the problem is this pawn is in the way. Because if you did like check, and if the pawn wasn't there, right, then you could start giving checks like this, but then he could still run down the board. So the fact that he can hide behind this pawn and take the lance in the process, which removes part of the vital net around the king, is not good. So I really do think that this lance has to be protected or sacrificed, I guess. You could go here, but I don't see the follow-up. Okay, so we're going back to this. Because I really don't see anything else. And the only move, I believe, yeah, this is all covered. So literally the only move is silver takes gold, which is so it's a forced move. Then regardless of what you do, there's no way to defend the lance, so I think you really do have to sacrifice... Well, not sacrifice, you're trading the lance for the silver, which forces the king, because, well, after the takes here and promotes, once again, it's a forced move. The king has to take. And then you have a silver in hand, so you could go check, which is a 1 square gap dragon, so that's good. If the king goes up, Oh, hang on a second. I am rusty. What about this? I know I mentioned it before, but then after this you can take, and that's... Well, it's not mate because of this, but I totally forgot that you could even take this pawn. In which case... Oh, it might even be this then. But then if takes... No, that doesn't work. So, okay, well, this... Check. Once again, it's a forced move. Only move is to take here. Then check here. But then what? You have a pawn in hand. So you could drop the pawn here, check. only move once again just to take, and then but the silver's in the way. Oh dear. Check, takes, check. Unless it's check. Well, if it's check and then takes, right? It seems silly to do that. Oh, well then check and that's mate. Okay, so you can't take this if check, so the only move is check. And then what? Oh, there's also this check. I totally forgot about this check. Does that work? Check. If you have forwards, that doesn't seem right. Oh well, you can go check, but then takes, and then check with the gold, but then you can just take, and then yeah, no, I don't think so. Okay. Starting off with a hard one here, unless I'm just missing something really simple because of my rust. Oh, battery running low. Let me fix that. There we go. Wouldn't want my computer to die on me. Okay, if check takes, I don't see anything that helps us here. So probably not bad. If check takes, then I'm pretty stumped, to be honest. Let's just have a crack. Nope. And this one? Oh god, it's neither of those moves. That's not good. Okay, so it was none of the moves that I was thinking of, in which case that does actually help me. There's also this and this. If this check takes... I don't see that. If here, then takes, you've got nothing. If here, takes, check. Ooh. Sacrifice the dragon, maybe. Because if silver takes, then this is mate. Interesting. What's the alternative? Isn't that a forced move? I think it is. I think it's this. Yeah. Oh, I didn't even calculate the king move. But regardless, this is still mate. So, that's a good puzzle. Dragon sack. Yeah, I didn't even consider that. Well, clearly I need to do some more practice. Okay, so this is clearly from a game. Okay, very weird looking game. The king is in the middle. Clearly a winning position for Sente. So we've got a bishop, gold, and a pawn in hand. Now, where can we put the pawn? We've got this row, this row, this row, which is where the king is, so that's useful, and the rest of them. So there could be a pawn drop somewhere. We've got a base pawn here actually as well. Okay. So good checks to start with. A dragon, can our dragon do anything? Well, the one square gap dragon doesn't work because of the base pawn. This is defended, so I don't see any decent dragon checks unless we're sacking again, which we could be, you never know. Now bishop checks maybe. That would be a sack. As with this would be easily blockable by any of the pieces in their hand. So we're going to try and avoid doing that. Okay, what about the gold? Gold here would be a sack. Here would be a sack. This would not be a sack. It is protected. And that would force the king to either here, or there. Then what? I mean, this puzzle could be a non-mate puzzle. That's the other thing. Doesn't have to be a mate necessarily. I mean, it looks like it would be because of how dire a situation their king is in. But because it's not a specific Tsume puzzle, it could just be like a find the best move. Well, I mean, it literally says find the best move over here, but the best move in this case could be winning material or something. Mind you, I could just go on a rampage over here and win a whole bunch of material, but what about actually? This sack doesn't look so bad actually, because if the king obviously can't take it, but if the pawn takes it, then this check is awful. I only got one square. After which, I think bishop check looks pretty nasty because it x-rays this silver, promoted silver over here. So silver cuts off this, it provides the check. I think that would be mate. Hang on. Yeah, because the dragon would be here. So that cuts off this square. Okay, so if the king is here, the dragon is here, and the bishop is here, then the king can't move here because of the dragon. So here is defended by the dragon. Here and here are pawns. Here and here is defended by the silver. The silver is defended by the bishop. And here. He would have to go here. At which point, what would I do? Oh, you step the dragon up there. Check. Because it's now defended by the bishop. So if the dragon's here and the king is here, these two squares are cut off by the dragon. This square is defended by the bishop. That's covered by the dragon. This is covered by the bishop, and these two are covered by the silver. Okay, so this is a good option. Are there any other responses apart from takes? You could move here immediately. But after which I think check is mate. Yeah, because they defend each other. These two squares are covered by the dragon, dragon, dragon. And you can't go back to where you came from because of this pawn. So after this drop, the only other option is to move forwards. After which, what do you do? There's the one, now you can do one square gap dragon, check, defended by the gold. The king's only options are to move here or to block it. If you block it, you just take because it's defended by the gold, so that doesn't work. If the king moves to here, then, oh, Jesus. Do you chase him with the dragon? Go to here, check. No, but then he can run to here, and that looks a bit dodge. So gold here, check. King moves forward. One square gap dragon. King moves here. And then is now the time to pull out the bishop. Maybe to prevent, if you put the bishop here, maybe prevents the king from going over here. It's defended by the dragon. But then the king can move either here or here. Both of which look pretty safe, actually. Mind you, at the end of all of that, you could just take this rook, which is maybe good. That looks pretty dangerous for them. Okay, so if gold here, check, forwards, check, there. At this point here, check, maybe? But you could just block. But that could be okay, because then when you bring the dragon down to give check, you can only go here. But then what? Nothing. I'd really like to solve this all the way through before I start putting moves on the board, but it's getting to be a bit difficult. If you run it again, what about it after check here? Maybe this dragon move is not the move? Sorry about the wind, if you can hear that. It's very loud. After that, it could be maybe the pawn check instead. But then you can just go this way. And then, I mean, what's the follow-up after that? I think you really do need to activate this dragon, keep it in the attack. Otherwise, the king gets far too far away from the dragon to be useful. For the purpose of saving time, I guess I will start putting these on the board. Oh, shoot. That is not the answer. Really? Wow. So I guess there is no mate down here. The king does manage to slip away. That's actually kind of impressive. Wow, so I was thinking about this all wrong. What to do instead, then? Could you achieve a similar effect with this? But then if king takes, then nothing. That's even worse. Because after this check, you could also just take this. Is it maybe check? No, because then this is covered. If the knight wasn't there and you forced the king to take back, that could be potentially good. But because the knight covers, I think that's not particularly useful. Oh, unless you go check and then if knight takes, then you do this drop. Because that's pretty nasty. But you can still go here. But then the bishop drop still works. But then after here, you can still take, or take with the bishop for that matter, and promote it. But then the king can go here. And there's no follow-up to that. Wow. What on earth? Maybe you start with a... Jeez. Plane going overhead. It's a very noisy place, this. You start with a pawn check, maybe? I don't see how that helps, though. Like there. You can just take it, and then what? I don't see a follow-up after that. Might also be this check, but that seems silly, because the king can just go here or here, and then you can't activate the rook. Or dragon, whatever. God. Let's have a look at the solution. Wait, what? Wait. Here, here, here. Oh, because this is protected. Jesus. And then the bishop move protects this pawn. But what if the king goes here? Then what? No. Here, here. Oh, is it this? Yeah. Oof. Okay. So it was a bishop drop first. Okay, well, I'm 0 for 2 then. That's a bit sad. Let's try one more. Try and solve it in the next 5.5 minutes, because that's when we bring up the half-hour mark, and I don't really want to go longer than that if I can help it. Okay, so we've got a dragon, a knight, gold in hand, pawn in hand. Pawn can go here or here, which is potentially useful. So it looks very much like a mate, given how precarious the king's situation is. Okay, so these two seem like good options, as does this. So let's investigate that. There's also potentially the idea of this promotion, because if takes, check, blocks, and then that's mate with the gold on the temple. But if you go here and then here, or here for that matter, you'd have to calculate that. Well, if he goes here, if you go check with the gold, oh, but then they can take, so that's a bit dodgy. Maybe you go check here. Actually, yeah, that is it. Because if you go check and he runs, you go check with the gold on the belly, and that is mate because the golds defend each other. These two squares are cut off by the dragon. This is cut off by its own knight, and you can't go here because of the gold, so that would work. So check here instead. Could you do the same thing, actually? Check. These squares are cut off. This square's cut off. This square's cut off. This square's cut off. Yeah, that's it. It's this. Oh boy, so this is the path we're going with, and then here. Well, nice easy one to finish up. I did manage to solve it under 5 minutes, that's handy. Oh well, I hope you all have enjoyed this little restart of the channel. I don't know how popular, I didn't really have a look at the analytics to see whether people likes the solving puzzles or the analysis videos more, but I hope to do both. But just in future, now that I'm sort of settled in, I'll hopefully try and upload more frequently, but still not as much as I did in the very beginning because I had a massive backlog in the beginning, so I could upload every single day. But from now on, it'll probably be more like maybe weekly or fortnightly or something like that, if I can do that. But and also maybe more of my own games or my own puzzles because they're much easier to make because they don't require any prep, because the analysis videos require me to find the games, go through all the games and make my own comments and analyses and figure out all the information on time and like how much time each player had at each moment, and then I usually rehearse it and then record it, so it can take an hour or 2 hours total to do all of that. So it is a bit of a time investment, but I still hope to do those because that is what I aimed to do when I set up the channel, is to make professional games more accessible to new players. But anyway, I'll leave it there. It's already long enough as is. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.